right? Is that too bad, too loud? Good. Is that Diane?
Yes, it is.
Diane, would you lead us in the pledge, and following that, I'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you. We have a fairly short agenda, I think, and we've got some interesting folks to hear from tonight. First order of business are the minutes of September 16th. Do we have a motion to accept those?
Brian Fire makes the motion that we accept the September 16th minutes as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I don't think it had any place on there that favorite commissioner.
No, she's locking her computer up.
Tell you. Next item on the agenda is our treasurer's report and the clerk's report. We just acknowledge we get it. I don't think this is approval. We just say, yep, we got her. Do we have a motion on that?
Kenny Helmish acknowledges that we received the treasurer's report as well as the county clerk's report.
And the clerk, did you include the clerk? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Second.
Motion been made and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Next item we have is a matching grant, a building grant, and it is, who's bringing them for us here? NDOT?
Service. Court service.
Court Services. Are they here?
Negative.
What's your pleasure, gentlemen? When's it due? Grant period's January 1st. Let's see when they have to have this thing in. Would that be, who would be bringing that? Pardon? Brian Foley is what I was thinking. Probation office. Okay. What's your pleasure, gentlemen? Wait till he can be here? Or you want to?
I don't have a problem going ahead and listing it now. I mean, they've done this for several years, so.
Probably has. You gonna make that motion?
The last sentence in the first paragraph, please note these funds do not have to be matched.
Right.
So I don't see a problem going after this grant with them not being here. They've done it before.
They don't have to be matched?
Go for it.
Kenny Hill makes a motion, we approve the 2025 matching grant for capacity building grant for the Horn County Court Services in the amount of matching 32,000, or total it's going to be $10,210. the matching grant is 23,820, and they're probably using project income if they gotta even use it. Brian already made the note at the last sentence that it's not necessary to be matched.
Second.
And a nice catch on that. Funds do not have to be matched. I would have liked to delay it if that hadn't been there. That makes it a little more smooth. We've had a motion made and seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Next item, update on the MDOT grant procedure. Justin Schneck, our county engineer, for those who have not been here before.
Well, thank you for
What
the
you got?
introduction. Yeah. The first item I have for you is our updated grant procedures for NDOT. So back in 2021, the Highway Department went through a couple audits regarding our federal funding documentation. So therefore, we were forced to create a standard operating procedure for our grants. That was written by some previous county personnel who aren't there anymore. So in coordination with Linda, Josh, Eddie, we all sat down, had a meeting, and I revised these to kind of modernize them, if you will. This is kind of a two-parter. The first one is just a grant funding policies and procedures document that will need signatures on the back. But the second part of this is, back in 21, we were also placed on a corrective action plan regarding the submittals of our quarterly reports. So we have updated that procedure. We're now using SharePoint to share those with various county personnel, go through a checking procedure, and to get those uploaded by the 21st of every quarter. So I'm looking for your approval on these new documents.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board?
The only question I had, the grant funding policy and procedures revised, I don't have a bit of problem with that. The other one on page 2, first bullet point, it says, department heads instead of department head. Last I knew, we still only have one department head at the highway department. I've seen it on that page. I've seen it as well on page 2 of the next document that you have on the, not the grant award, but the corrective action. It's on the first paragraph, front page on that one. Justin, I just was wondering why it's got a plural instead of singular. But other than that, I'm fine with all of them.
I'm sorry, could you point me to where there's a plural version? I'm missing it.
On the standard personnel policy and procedure, page 2, the first bullet point, department heads.
Are you looking at the old version by chance?
Could be, I'm looking at that one.
Yes, that is.
That's the old version that they did. Okay, I'm fine with that one. This one here, Justin, what about this?
That is also the old one.
That's the old one too, okay.
Where's the new one here, Justin?
This one right here.
The purpose? Is that, that's the old?
Yeah, so this is the second page. That's old, that's old.
Yep.
That one's old, that one's old. Here's the new one.
I'm good with it.
I gotta get my pen and make sure.
We want the ones that say revised 9/24/24.
So these two. and that are new.
The new-
Take over your table.
That's all right. That's what the table's for. Take it with you.
Yep.
All right, that helps us
So you need
understand.
us to adopt the corrective action plan revised 9/24/24 and the grant funding policies and procedures revised 9/24/24.
Correct.
I think I've got everything. Yeah.
And I'll put that in the form of a motion, that we accept the corrective action plan as presented in front of us, that was revised on 9/24/24, and the grant funding policies and procedures as revised on 9/24/24.
Second.
Been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Together.
Justin, Bridge Ford.
Stay up here on bridge.
That's right. So, Bridge 40, which was formerly Small Structure 1251 out on Leonard Road, after our hydraulic analysis determined that it needs to be larger, we have now named this project Bridge 40. So attached, you'll find a plan sheet. I provided a larger one that I believe that was in your packets for more clarification. But we are looking for your approval on the right-of-way layout presented so that we can move forward and start showing this to the property owners and negotiating to buy this property.
You had a chance to review that? Anybody? Thank you.
Chance to look at it.
Yeah, I've had a chance to look at it. He sent me all the stuff.
Okay. Everybody's had a chance to look at it. I'll entertain a motion.
Anyhow, makes a motion, we'll go ahead and, him to go ahead on Bridge 40 to go ahead and do the right-of-way acquisition to get that road open back up.
We have a second.
Second.
Do we have any further discussion? I noticed we were a little, want to check it out there. Any further discussion or questions about it? I do. I don't know where Bridge 40 is.
Leonard Road.
Does it say that? And I just missed
It's
it.
the one that if you could just put a cul-de-sac in it, you could fix it in 3 days.
Is that right? Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
It was on porch time, so you know it was true.
Oh, for sure. All right.
Okay. All right, we had a motion made and seconded. All in favor of the motion for the updated, or the plan to get Bridge 40 cooking? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0, and thank you for getting things rolling.
Thank you.
Next item we have is with the Purdue Extension, it's our annual, I suppose, Purdue Extension Agreement. Is Rena or somebody from the Extension Board here? Do you want to do it without explanation, or do you want to wait till we have somebody from the board?
Any changes?
Don't know.
Versus, I didn't have time to find the prior agreement.
Say that again.
I went back through some stuff and I was trying to find the prior one to see if there was any changes, and I couldn't find it in my filing cabinet down at the office. I think this is this just the annual one that we do every year? Pardon? Is that what we paid last year? Doesn't really matter. I'm not going to do away with the Purdue extension. Raise the fee or not.
Well, then I'll entertain a motion. I guess we are going to go with it for a little bit, unless you want to table it, or if you want to take a little bit more time. Makes me never mind.
Frank Iyer make the motion that we accept the extension contractual service agreement between Purdue University and the government in Morgan County.
I do have a brief question. Well, no, I better wait till we have the second. We have the second.
I'll second it. I wish they was here, because I'd like to see some questions answered, but that's all right.
Want to see those, we'll just table if you like. I was curious about the money, but that's not,
Don't even have it outlined in there, that's what I was.
I it's $132,680, so
What we paid last year?
they got that.
I don't know. I'm fine. I second it already.
Well, that's all right. We can't really discuss it until we get a second, and you might change your mind. You don't have to vote for it. We can still table if you'd like to get more questions. You're uncomfortable, let's just go ahead and table it, and then we'll have them come and explain anything in numbers. I know we're gonna,
I feel better about that myself.
okay.
Don't look real good for each leader doing that, but I just would feel a little bit better.
Well, I'd be curious myself. I know that they do such great work, and they do a lot of stuff, but I'd like to kind of go over it just to see how much Purdue's kicking in and how much we're kicking in. So, I'll entertain a motion to the table. If that's what you want to do.
Do we want to rescind?
I thought that's what you said.
Well, Brian's got,
Yeah.
You can table if you decide that.
well, Brian has made a motion.
Right.
So you have to call and, like, there's not gonna
It's
be a
either
second.
gonna
It
die
sounds
or-
like you're not gonna get a second, so it's gonna die.
I thought
Right?
he was going to second it, but
Well, no, I get it.
I thought we couldn't discuss a motion until it was seconded.
I did. I'm not real comfortable, but I can live with it either way.
So you have to call for a vote, and then you two vote no, and it dies. And then they have to come back, put it back on the agenda.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No. Aye. Now, it'll be back on the agenda after we've had a chance to review it with it.
As bad as they're having in football this year, and then you guys are picking on them, and
I feel a lot better.
Somebody here, when they come to us with something like that, it's just like,
I'm pretty sure that it was 2 years ago that Purdue raised it on us, and I don't think they did this year. I could have misunderstood during the.
we didn't raise tuition, so we just didn't want to
I
raise it.
didn't. I could have misunderstood that when, during the council's budget time, but
Okay.
I could stand corrected on that.
Well,
It won't hurt them.
It doesn't hurt to check.
No, sir.
We'll just tell Rena or somebody, Jan, somebody up there, say, come on down and speak to us a little bit. We love you. See ya. Okay. Planning Commission membership. Yes.
Good evening. So this was something that the Plan Commission Director Laura Parker brought to our attention. Tonight is your first reading for this. She couldn't be here, but I'm sure she'll be at your next meeting and can speak to it more fully. But essentially, she wanted to have some more flexibility. Right now, we're organized under a certain statute of Indiana Code, and it breaks down into two portions, an A and a B. We used to be under B, and it gave the commissioners 5 citizens appointments. Thanks to the work of Deb we made a change back during the time of I-69. We went to Section A because they wanted to make sure that we had a township trustee from Harrison Township area during I-69. Now that we're through all that, she would like to go back to the B section so that we're not limited. Under A, you had 4 citizens appointments and 1 trustee. Now you'll go back to 5 citizens appointments if you guys decide to approve this at your next meeting. So that's kind of the overview of what she's wanting to do.
Any questions on that, gentlemen? So this, I think I understand this, Josh, but I don't want to do something out of wacko here. This is, the planning and zoning is seeking to be able to make an appointment without having to come from the township. Is that what we're looking at? We're not limited. We don't have to just make it one specific township or a township at all. just the person. Got it. That's what I thought we were going for. I know what we're going for, but I don't see that. I don't see that resolution. Okay, I've got a resolution for appointing, that goes back to Charlie Mason.
This one right here. It's ordinance,
That's what I was looking for, I just don't see it.
it's a new one.
Maybe it's,
It's not in the packet.
well, that's what I'm seeing
It was laying on your desk
it.
there.
Oh, okay,
Two of them.
okay, that's what I'm not gonna prove something occurred back in years ago.
Read this.
I've noticed in the minutes of the appointments from the January 3rd, 2006 meeting where they actually put in somebody's nickname. I was wondering if we could bring that back. I got a few nicknames that we could start inserting into the official minutes so that 2 decades later. So, Madam Attorney, do we just have to acknowledge the ordinance to restructure the Plan Commission tonight as the first reading?
Don't have, you got it, you read it, it's been read, you're here. Yes, you can't, unless you're gonna suspend the rules. There's
I would never do that to you. You
There's
got a whole
nothing
career
more
on
to do.
rules. So we can move along.
Move along.
Get my
Speed reading
Good.
of that ordinance, and we'll re-entertain it at our next meeting for the second reading.
Correct.
That's good. Thank you. I think we got through that without a lot of grief.
You get to do it 2 more times.
We can do that. All right, we have an ordinance here from the Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Donation Fund. Are you gonna address that, or? Hey, last week, last month's meetings, I was wishing for you, sir. Oh, it makes you real nervous that I don't see the sheriff.
David was here.
Well, they-
I was at the last, it was the time before that, Nolan. Yeah, I was here in the last one.
There was one time I'm looking. Whoa.
So what we need is, a lot of people, call us, write us, once you make a donation to the sheriff's office. Make a donation, and they have to do it to us to get their tax write-off or whatever they need to do, so we can legally accept their donation.
Which we've talked with Linda, and she's obviously been with the State Board of Accounts as well. So the ordinance is pretty much drafted to meet with the State Board of Accounts recommendations on how to handle that.
So this ordinance is, what, is this gonna be called a SWAT fund, or?
Well, there's actually gonna be 2, one for a general donation fund to the sheriff's office, and then a second one specific to SWAT,
Okay,
They're both in the same ordinance.
all right.
but addressing two different accounts, basically. Setting up 2 different accounts with the auditor's office.
So if you look at the ordinance, it says section 1 that creates the SWAT fund, and then section 2 creates the
Sheriff's Office Fund.
Look at C,
C
section
in
2.
Section 2 says SWAT instead of sheriff's.
Ew, well, we'll fix that for a second reading.
Yeah, we're not gonna make this.
So I'll acknowledge for the first reading that we've looked at the ordinance to establish donation fund accounts. And we'll re-entertain that at our next meeting. At the same time, I'd like to acknowledge the ordinance to repeal and extinguish the fund accounts as listed. Donation fund for County DARE program, donation fund for the County Boot Camp program, and It's Your Choice program fund and fees. do the second reading at our next meeting. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So your motion was on the first reading, correct? Or-
There's no motion.
No motion at all?
We read it.
We got it? All right. We've acknowledged.
We did. That was probably the smoothest we've ever gone through something like that before. Thanks. See, we're learning. Yeah, really good at this.
Won't need me anymore soon.
I think
I don't know
I've got
about
it.
that.
We have another ordinance, Drainage Board's fee schedule.
This would be the second reading, Mr. Chairman.
This is the second reading. Do we have any additions or corrections that you want to add to this ordinance, or are you ready to take the second reading?
Is there any input from the public?
Any input from the public?
Brian Kyer makes the motion that we accept the second reading of ordinance 2024-17, an ordinance amending the unified check uniform fee schedule for the Morgan County Drainage Board.
Second.
Motion been made and second for the second reading of ordinance 2024-17, Drainage Board fee schedule changes. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. We also have a second reading of ordinance 2024-18 concerning stormwater. Do we have any questions or any comments on that ordinance?
A little bit longer.
Yep.
Any input from the public? Mr. Chairman, I'd like to acknowledge and make a motion that we accept at the second reading of the Morgan County Stormwater Management Ordinance, ordinance number 18, 2024-18.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for the second reading of the ordinance, stormwater management ordinance that we were previewed last meeting or for the first day. All in favor of the second reading motion, signify by saying aye. 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 Motion passes 3-0. Okay, that pretty well,
Guarantee
unless I
that.
skipped something, pretty well wraps up our,
No, we got one.
what have we got?
PTO at the bottom.
Well, that's another business, I think. I'm just wrapping up our new business.
We just did that one.
Then we table the ordinance,
We're not doing anything on that
I
one.
know, we don't need to do anything there, so we just move on. We don't have to move on here. We're next to other business, which is coming from Doree on a PTO donation from the auditor's office. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, we have an employee that has about 17 weeks of PTO that they have saved up. And they will be retiring soon and will not be able to take a lot of that with them. There's another employee in the office that has need of some hours for a medical reason. And so the employee that has the large amount of PTO has requested to donate some of that to this employee for medical purpose.
Do you gentlemen have any questions? Your advice would be,
I think it's warranted. I think.
it's warranted? Thank you, I appreciate that. We treasure your advice.
For medical, correct?
It
Medical.
is definitely for medical.
Brian Kyer makes a motion that we accept the PTO donation for medical purposes.
Second.
Been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doree. Thank you for the job you do. That's, next to David Rogers, that's probably the toughest job. Well, I don't know, there's 2 or 3 tough jobs. Being a commissioner isn't nearly as tough as some of the things that you guys get involved in. I'll tell you, we have a lot of fun. Not all the time, but just part-time. Okay, we are, as far as I can see, completed all our business, except we have a gentleman that wanted to speak, and we didn't go through it, but Mr. Arms has something to bring to our attention. Yes, Eddie.
Rod is with PEI. It's the company that does the tank inspections for the underground storage tanks, and there's been some issues, and so to me trying to relay the message, give it to you from the man.
I'm sorry,
So,
Eddie.
he's got all the information. PEI, they are the underground storage tanks for our fuel system at the Morgan County Highway.
Okay.
And he's got all the information. He come to us. We had to have a report done from him. My mind went blank on who it was. IDM has contacted us, and we've been dealing with them over the last year or two, and he's got the information you need, so I'm just letting him present it to you.
Okay. Mr. Arms.
Yeah, I'm here at Eddie's request just to help convey the information that is, it's rather complex, I guess, if you're not in the fuel business, so.
No, I'm not at all.
Okay. Well, you own underground storage tanks, which have to be licensed, and obviously you pay fees every year to have those tanks in the ground and operational. IDM comes out about every 3 years now and does inspections, just spot inspections. They do give you a warning so you can put together all your paperwork. They have recently come out again and have sent a new violation letter to the county with the problems that they discovered again at the site. And we need to go through those and get them fixed. I've already sat down with Eddie and Joe over at the garage, and we have looked at the list of things that they found that were not up to compliance. Most of it's minor stuff. It was just paperwork, things like that need to be corrected. The one major thing that has been in existence since I started helping with your fuel systems back in 2021 is the fact that the underground storage tanks are not passing their cathodic protection testing. If you're not familiar with cathodic protection, it's what keeps your metal tanks from rusting in the ground. Your previous fuel system was installed in 1977. It was removed in 1996, so it lasted a little less than 20 years. This system has been in since 1996 and is now 28 years old. It is steel tanks, but they were cathodically protected. That cathodic protection is meant to last 30 years, but it has been failing since 2021 when I first came into this and started looking into all of your problems and deficits with the fuel system. At that time, we did a cathodic protection test, and only one of the 3 tanks even come close to passing. The other 2 failed. This
Say
year,
that again, they failed?
2 of the 3 tanks, when we first did the testing in 2021, failed the test. I notified everybody at that time that we had an issue with this. It's one of the problems we needed to correct. I was then asked to give a set of price quotes as to what it would take to fix all the problems that were existing with the previous violation letter from IDM. I did so. We were then asked to fix certain things, but not all things. Primarily, I'm assuming because of the cost it was going to be to do a repair on the cathodic systems themselves. Well, now we're to the point where we're 3 years later, we still haven't corrected those problems. Now we've had the 3rd tank fail. So all 3 tanks are currently in violation and do not have reliable cathodic protection. So they are basically no good anymore. At 30 years, they have outlasted their warranty when they were manufactured. The state of Indiana is currently pushing for all single-wall steel tanks to be taken out of the ground and replaced as soon as possible. They have offered a 50% rebate or grant fund from the ELF fund, which is the fund that you pay into when you pay in your tax fees, to help get that facilitated. So at this time, it's probably a good idea to maybe think about going ahead and replacing those tanks with new tanks, and at least you get half your money back that way.
Any idea what that would cost?
To replace the fuel system currently, we're probably looking in the neighborhood of $400,000.
Those leaking. Hell, the fine will be more than that. I'm clear. Is there any reason why we put them back underground? in that location?
We've talked about that, and I thought that's something we would talk about. We probably, especially since they're gonna pay for half, with everybody in the county using our fuel now, we probably should upgrade our tanks at this time too, and go a little bit bigger, so we're not filling so often. But I've mentioned about above ground, and if we have the room, it's very possible, but they don't give the grant money, right? They will not do a grant for above ground, but if we do the underground, do it in the same spot, same place, or we could move it and still use our tanks till the new ones are done, and just move our fuel island somewhere else, then we could get half the money, right? Half.
There are stipulations on the grant money, obviously. What
But if
state-
you're saying 400 and we get half of it back, it's 200?
But if you go above ground.
If you go above ground, they're not gonna pay for any above ground tanks. That's what they've stipulated. I don't know why. They just say anything above ground, they're not paying for.
And we'll still have to dig and remove them anyway.
But I've got a question on, pardon?
I don't even know why we would be waiting then, if they're failing. I don't have a problem.
I just want to find out if there's
We'll
any
find
other kind of tanks besides steel.
Well, we can go to fiberglass. We have choices these days.
How much would the fiberglass cost?
They're almost exactly the same at this point,
How much is their lifespan?
30 years.
No matter if it's, I'll be darned.
Yeah,
You
most
would thought-
manufacturers will not give more than a 30-year life warranty. Most of them are, some of them are less, but most of them go 30.
In your experience, do you see any benefit to the fiberglass?
Not really, no, because today, we don't put single wall tanks in the ground anymore. That's completely out of the question. So everything we bury today is a tank within a tank. And it's double wall for a reason. That way we can always check that interstitial, that area in between the two tanks, to see if the inner tank is leaking. So whether it's steel or whether it's fiberglass is irrelevant at this point. We can protect the steel tank much better now than we used to, because what we do is we coat the outer steel with a fiberglass tank. So we put a steel tank in a fiberglass tank. So there's no benefits to either way. It's just a matter of choice.
Okay.
And if you're going above ground, it'll probably be a steel tank, and it'll be another steel tank within a steel tank. But it'll be up on skids or something like that to mount to concrete.
I think that's a discussion with, I think we need to go ahead and proceed. But
Absolutely.
how do we move that?
Well, I can continue in discussions with Eddie here, and we can
I mean,
figure out what we're gonna do.
that's got to go to the council, I suppose.
We can find the funding for 200,000.
Just do the grant paperwork, submit it, and come back to us for it.
Okay,
I mean, that's all I see they need to do.
all right. We're on it.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Have a good evening.
Appreciate your work. All right, anybody else speak? Yes.
Yeah, how about recycling? How do you stand on that?
It's proceeding as fast as we can do it, but there's a lot of things that that are the requirements that we want to do it right, so.
What's the target date for it, do you have?
Oh, 2027, simpler, I don't know. I don't put that in the paper, please.
It is. It's gonna be the headline, 2027.
Adam says. No, I hope,
I've had people asking.
we get mail probably daily or weekly, and they're very patient people. I keep saying, we're getting there, but it's taken some while. We've got some things that are still being worked on with this, with the federal laws and all the stuff that we need to do too. So, I don't really have a good, if I put a date down, I'd probably, let's say at least a year. But if they have a problem, they need to take someplace, I would say, we still have a couple places open that they can do their recycling to save it up and take a load over to Morgantown or Eminence. Is that correct?
Morgantown's the only one.
Morgantown's it? I thought they had one in Eminence for some reason.
He got shut down with all the rest of them.
It got shut down too, okay. Well, they have to go to Morgantown. I don't want to overdo that one. We're working as fast as we can. And there's just a lot of T's to cross and I's to dot. But I do definitely want to get it done. And because my wife's harping at me too, it just tears her up to have to take a bunch of stuff we could recycle and put it out in the trash. We understand that. But we're working with some local builders. We've talked about what they can do on the site, so it's proceeding, but not fast enough. But this problem didn't come overnight either, so. Diane? No. I was surprised today that, and it's probably as dry as it was when we had the ban. And I've heard the people that we don't usually initiate that. It's usually initiated by the fire departments. We get the chiefs all, they have to deal with it. They've got to get out. So far, as far as I know, there hasn't been any really major, there has been 3. Okay. It's, unless there is some rain possibly this next weekend, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. I think the thing that's helping is that the crops are getting in without, if you got a fire starting that gets into a cornfield, it's really, really bad news, or a bean field, or grass, so I wouldn't be surprised to see one, but kind of waiting on the chiefs to kind of jump on it, because they see, how much is this going to come? And unfortunately, and I don't want to say it's unfortunately, we kind of wait around and see what other people are doing. That's not the way to do it. We feel like it's needed, we'll do it. And I did see that the National Weather Bureau the other day said the conditions were, windy is what they look for, windy and dry. So you almost want to do it by the day, but you can't do that. You got to start one and end one. So, but I share your concern, and we haven't heard anything from fire departments yet. I haven't. Have you, gentlemen?
They called me out right before this meeting for a field fire.
Grass fire?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see one coming fairly
Out
soon.
Olive Lane.
Okay. Thanks, Diane. For the good of the county, other than, are we going to have fire ban? Does anybody have anything for the good of the county?
Old Town Waverly, the haunting of Old Town Waverly this Saturday, starting at 5 o'clock. Kids friendly, 5 to 7 till about 11 o'clock. 7 to 11 will be the very scary daggone haunting of Waverly. So love to see y'all.
It's a neat operation out there, and there's several of those around the county that are going to be, haunted houses, and I know they have, Mooresville has at the park, I don't know what, does Martinsville have a thing at the park for Halloween? I know Mooresville has one. I used to drive the wagon for the hayride, but I got stories on that one. I'll not spend the rest of the night talking about. Amazing that. Any other good of the county?
My wife was unfortunately privy to one of the numerous phone calls that people get when you get into a position such as ours, and she looked at me and said, "Why do you do this?" And to be honest with everybody, I do enjoy this position and I have fun at it. And so I don't want to tell everybody that it was Kenny Hill that knocked all the coffee stirrers over and made a mess of the office. And as a token, because I do sometimes pick on my 2 comrades and love them to death, I just want to give Kenny, since I just made fun of him in a public meeting, Don's candy that was in his box. Now watch Don when it comes to candy, because when you start taking the sugar away, look out. Makes
It was a cruel thing to do right in front of me.
I know it. Well, I should hear Don.
Give it back.
You can have mine.
I wouldn't think that. I've already been in it, in case you're missing the Rolos. I do appreciate also just being, I'm going to speak to a bunch of Cub Scouts next Monday. Couldn't do it tonight, but, when you're out there talking to the public about what we do and what public officials do, I know Diane's probably as close to seeing the big picture, working with, you know, a senator. But this is where the fun is. And it doesn't get, you know, I did get somebody upset, think I put a sign up for some party member that I'm not a part of that party. And this is a season where everybody gets a little testy, but not as bad as we are on the national scene. We're still pretty much neighbors in the local scene. I hope we keep it that way. You can have your disagreements, but it doesn't mean you have to be disagreeable. I entertain a motion for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for all being here. Oh, I forgot we have another candidate for office, Mr. Clark. I aimed to mention you in the meeting. We have, is it John? No, that's who you replaced.